Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Soul Goals. I am Dawn, and this is
Dixie.
Woo! Hey, we're on episode 3. Is that cool?
That's crazy. I love it.
Oh, it's so great. And I will tell you, I was talking to a friend the other day about what it is that we're doing. And I said, I feel like we're doing some kind of like social experiment, like on all this stuff to see, like, we're your lab rats to see what works and
Yeah.
what doesn't work.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
definitely stretching me. I'm like, wow, I'm experimenting on myself. This is okay. This is
I
good.
know it. I mean, it's like therapy 101 every week for 52 weeks. We are bringing you a different activity each week that we are testing out so that you, the listeners at home, can go, that resonates with me. I like that. I don't like that. And then, you know what? And when I say that, like when I don't like that, that actually means I probably need to do more of that.
Right? The things that make
Sadly.
us uncomfortable.
Mm,
Yes.
yeah, the things that you talk about stretching you, the things that stretch us are the things we probably need to do. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So interestingly, week number 3 didn't stretch me very far because it's a background of what I guess I've done for 20 plus years in human movement, basically. And this week's title is Let's Get Physical. So we are exploring different ways of working out and what that does for a person, what that does for your psyche, what that does for your body, what that does for your mind, how it all connects together. So for me, I was very excited to embark on this because it's something I do regularly anyway, whether it's with clients, whether it's by myself, whether it's programming for a group or working with my kids. There's lots of different things that I do when it comes to exercise. So the goal that we had set for this week is to do three different exercises, like exercise sessions, really,
Hmm.
for the week. I did one that I normally always do, CrossFit. That's kind of my shtick right now. I
Yeah.
really like it.
Love
And
it.
then I kind of went outside of my comfort zone on the other two, and I'll get into that. But how
Oh,
was it
yeah.
for you?
That's exciting. So I have been on this quest since the beginning of the year. When I changed careers a couple of years ago, um, and I guess it's okay to speak freely here. I changed
Yeah.
careers and was going through menopause all at the same time. So took a really hard right. So in
Yeah.
January of 2024, I was officially in post menopause. And
Okay.
it was almost to the day that like my body just quit responding like it used to.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and then I found myself like, what? Like I didn't even recognize myself. And there's still days where it's an ongoing struggle.
Mhm.
It's an ongoing, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just ongoing. There's
Well,
not
it's
a good word.
constantly changing, it sounds like.
Yeah. So I've put on quite a bit of weight as a result.
Mhm.
So I've recently really honed in on what I put in my body. Um, and I don't get it perfect. I work in a restaurant and I have to taste food all the time. And
Yeah.
so, you have to play with the cards you're dealt. And so um, moving my body became quite challenging. I started experiencing joint pain, a lot of
Mm,
things that I haven't experienced in the past. Because, as you know, I know we met through beach volleyball, but we both have a huge love for CrossFit, all things.
right.
I mean, hand me a barbell and I'm a happy girl. Um,
Same. Yes.
but I have had to back way up on the weights,
Mhm.
and I'm working with a coach who is helping me to increase my flexibility because I feel like my joints just went, oh, okay, we're just gonna like that's
Like tight. Yeah, like I'm
yeah, like
stopping you.
just yes. And so
Mhm.
movement workout sessions, they look a little bit different, but I have a huge goal for 2025 that I'm moving towards, and my coach feels comfortable that we can get there. So I'm training for a high rocks race in the spring.
So what
And
is a high rocks race? Because I know you said something about that on one of your Instagram stories a couple of
Mhm,
weeks ago, and I
mhm.
I meant to ask you about that actually last week.
Yeah, so it's another type of fitness race. They have all different levels. So beginners, they have a pro division. It's relatively new. Oh, my light just went out. Did you see that? Oh
I
my
did.
goodness, sorry. So can you still
You're
see
good.
me?
I
Oh,
can
happens
totally
all
see
the
you.
time. Oh my goodness. So it's a relatively new um but it's been around long enough to where there's like world champions in that fitness sport. But it's
Okay.
basically an 8K, if you will. So you run, and it's the same race wherever you run it. So it's all
Mm-hmm.
over the world. You can go to different countries, you can go to different states in the United States and do it. But you run 1,000 meters, and then you do an exercise. You run another 1,000 meters, and you do another exercise. So
Oh,
it's 8,000 meters that you end up running slash walking. 'Cause they have all divisions, but the 8 exercises, one is like 1,000 meter row,
yeah.
one is a sled push, one's a sled pull, sandbag lunges, wall balls, burpee broad jumps, like all that. So
This
think
is like
about.
right up my alley too.
Yes. So my daughter
Wow.
agreed to do the women's doubles division with me in the
Oh,
spring. So
oh my gosh.
I believe that when you do it with a person, they have relays too. You can get different, you can do a relay team.
Okay.
So you share the load, you share the workload. So I'm going to start with doubles with her and share the workload. And then maybe
Mhm.
the next one, do it the women's, just women's division.
Oh,
And there's all ranges. My coach has done one. I just listened to a podcast, the world champion, High Rocks pro woman. She just, and I just love fitness. I love the way it makes me feel. So we've been working towards getting my knees to where I'm comfortable in a lunge. I think I'm a little afraid because
I
they
get
got
it.
so tight and I was experiencing so much joint pain. But
Mhm.
we're getting there. So
Good.
but I'm very excited about it. And so October is when I'm really kicking off the training of it all. But
Great.
I my what I'm learning is that I just have to incorporate with my job. My job's super hard on the body. So
Mhm.
I do a lot of, sometimes my workout is like a 15-minute, like go wide or flexibility.
Yeah,
I love the Go Wide app because you can just do a daily, you can do a pre workout, a post workout, and then have this library of all kinds of stuff.
right.
And my coach has a lot of good stretches and stuff like that. So one day I'll do resistance training. One day I have a concept two rower. One day I row. And then in between, I'm doing a lot of stretch work, flexibility, mobility work.
Well, it
So
sounds interesting because what I'm hearing you say is that mobility, as you have aged, has become something that is pretty critical for you in terms of your
mhm,
physical movement.
it's a
And
challenge too. Yeah.
yeah, and it's something like that we just don't like to do. I mean, I was a yoga instructor for years, and I mean, as a yoga instructor, there were classes I was teaching where they were large classes and I wasn't able to practice while I was teaching.
Hmm.
So, it's like it's that old adage about, the teacher doesn't get the lesson,
Right.
basically.
Right. Right.
So
And
I just
coaching CrossFit, I was a
yes.
CrossFit coach for years. You watch
Mhm.
everybody else fitness,
Yeah.
and then you're like, I got to get my workout in somehow.
Right. Yeah, it's a
Right.
very challenging very challenging piece for sure.
Hmm.
And I think too that whole flexibility thing, I look at my kids who are like collegiate athlete kind of stuff, your daughter as well.
Yeah.
And I think like I know now they're being that flexibility is being stressed to them a lot more than it was like prior. And as they're aging and they're starting to feel their bodies, it's like, oh, if I don't take care of my body, then it's totally not going to carry me through the rest of these years that I have to compete and then beyond as well. So,
Right. I
yeah.
watched a gentleman. He was what, 80 years old and still doing Ironman races. Are you familiar with this guy?
No, but
Um,
that's incredible.
It was like years ago. It was a few years ago. I saw him on a YouTube video or something. They were filming his race, and it takes him, they give you a time limit. You have to be done by midnight or something. It literally takes him all day to do it. But
Yeah.
he's 80 plus years old and doing this Ironman. And somebody asked him, how are you able to do this Ironman at your age? This is so impressive.
Mhm.
And he said, my body at 80 is a direct result of how I treated it at 40.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said
Hmm.
that because I literally, as I was researching some different things to talk about today, literally saw that same adage online, that same comment about how your body is physically at 80 is a direct response to what you're doing in your 30s and 40s.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's why this little bump in the road that we call menopause is I'm not I'm not letting that like shut me down. I'm
Good for you.
powering through. I and I've had to make adjustments. But the
Yeah.
funny thing is at work the other day, I'm a manager at a restaurant, and so I have to um weigh kegs and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I am moving heavy stuff all the
Yeah.
time. And I know I'm able to do that because I started CrossFit years ago. And
Yes.
somebody needed sugar put into the sugar bin. And I went back there and she said, "Oh, Miss Dixie, let's get a guy, let's go find somebody who can pick up this 50-pound bag of sugar." And I was like, "We don't need to find anybody. I've
I
got
got
you."
it. Yeah.
And I picked up the bag of sugar. This was just this week. And I picked up the bag of sugar and poured it in the big bin. And she was like, and I said, "Girl, I've been lifting things way heavier than this for probably longer than you've been alive. So
Right.
we're okay."
I love it. Dixie, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great.
So my exercises look a little different, but they're fixing to get a little more traditional, if you will.
Okay.
But I just ordered. Have you heard of the knees over toes guy? I'm sure you've heard of the knees
Yeah.
over toes guy.
Yes.
He talks about pulling a sled to strengthen the knees
Right.
and to be have less pain in the knees.
Right.
So I just ordered
You got a
a
sled?
sled from Rogue. Yes.
Okay.
And surprisingly, it wasn't near like I thought. I didn't have any idea how much it would cost. And I was
Well,
pleasantly surprised that it wasn't like through the roof. But
I'm coming over to use your rogue sled then.
yes, you absolutely can. So I just it was kind of like a tease. I'm like, "What are you doing to me, Rogue?" Because I got the poles, that go in it.
Yeah.
Got that. And then I received the belt that I'm gonna hook to it to do the pulling.
Yeah.
And so just this morning, the base is at my door. So I'm gonna do an unboxing later of
Okay.
my I'm so
I love it. I love
excited.
it. Well, and they didn't all come together. They came in separate
No, in
pieces. That's
3
interesting.
different shipments.
Okay.
And I thought, "Okay, you're breaking my heart, Rogue. Can I just get it
I just
all?"
need it all.
I just want it all. So today will be my first. I'm just gonna get out in my front yard and just have fun today.
And I think about this too, and then we'll get back on task because this is really interesting to me because I know you work out outside a lot and you
I
have a
do.
basement kind of garage area where you live. And
Mhm,
so it's kind of inside outside. And what do you like? I work out in our garage. I
mhm,
put our garage doors up and I'm blasting music and I'm like either sprinting out the driveway and back in or around the corner, like in then I mean
mhm.
but I would like, I put my apparatus sitting outside in my driveway. I
Yeah.
guarantee you my neighbors have to think I'm nutso because there's not a lot of people doing that around in our
No,
neighborhood.
there's not. There's not. I
Yeah.
did a yes, my it's kind of inside outside my workout area. So underneath the roofed part, if you will, the covered part, I have my rig, which my back squat, pull up
Yep.
rig, and then yeah. So I just drag it all out, my kettlebells, all that, and then my driveway is a hill, so
Mhm.
that's like, and it's a pretty steep hill. Like when we
Mhm.
get snow, we don't go anywhere for
Yeah.
a minute, and I'll do farmer carries up and down that hill. It's like a great workout anytime I'm up and down that hill. But yes, my neighbors looked at me strange because one time I did I did like a run for 100 meters and then do 25 burpees. And I did that in my neighborhood.
Oh my
Um,
god.
and
I've done
so,
it one time before, and I'm telling you, people look at the I'm telling you, people are looking at you going, Is she okay? Like, do
right.
you need to call somebody?
Mhm. Yeah, and then
Do
every
you have
once
a
in a while you'll
medical
have that
emergency?"
person, right? Then you'll have that one person that honks and they're like, "You go, girl," so
Yes.
they know what you're doing. But
Oh,
yeah, so that's it's always interesting, but it's fun. I love it.
yes.
And if I can if one person can see me out being, looking ridiculous and go, "Huh, maybe I should get out and do
Yeah.
something."
Yeah,
You
it's
know.
being the example
Mhm,
of what it is that
mhm.
you're contributing to your life. Yeah, you gotta be the example. Yeah.
Right. And I don't want to slow down. Like my kids are grown, and one day, the Lord willing, I'll have grandbabies, and I
Ah,
don't want to
right.
just be sitting around. Like there goes
Right.
my light just magically, and let there be light. I don't want to just be sitting around
Yeah.
watching them enjoy life. Like I want to be running in the yard, doing all the things with them.
Right. And that's a
So,
big piece of this whole let's get physical.
mhm,
If we think
mhm,
about it from a physical standpoint, I mean, I know that my quality of life is better on not just the physical level, but on
right.
the mental, emotional, and even I'm going to go as far as to say the spiritual level too.
Mhm, mhm,
I'm actually doing something good for myself, like moving my body. I mean, exercise is such a great reliever of anxiety, of
mhm,
depression, and of sadness. And I had a guest on the podcast last year that said it was day one, or one day or day one, day one or
mhm,
one day. You can interchange the thing. And I
mhm.
went, oh, yeah, because we had a conversation about it. The hardest thing for people to do is get started, but once you're started, it's like, okay, I either one or two things happen. Like your endorphins kick in and you're like, okay, I'm going to carry on and I can do this.
Mhm.
Or your brain goes, well, I'm doing it now, so I might as well just keep on keeping on. I mean, why stop now? And there,
Right.
like I will say there's been a handful of times where I've actually stopped in the middle of a workout and been like, I just can't do this anymore. But that's been at very critical times in my life. It's very,
Mhm.
very, very few and far between. I will also tell you that my family has come home before, and when I'm working from home and I have an opportunity to work out on my lunch hour, and if I worked through my lunch hour and I have not taken care of myself by doing even 30 minutes of something,
Yeah.
they will talk to me for 45 minutes or an hour and they'll be like, did you work out today? And I'm like, no, why? And they're like, maybe you should just go out and walk on the treadmill a little bit.
Mhm.
It I just
Right.
am a different person when I
Mhm.
do that, and I
Mhm.
feel better on all the levels, all the levels.
Absolutely. You're more. There's so much research to back up what you're saying, as
Mhm.
far as mindset and what happens physically in your body that affects your brain and the way you think. It's like therapy for me. Like,
Totally.
and if I go several days without it, I know it's
Yeah.
my thoughts. I'm not very kind to myself in the way I'm thinking. It
Right.
affects everything. And I love to, I've always been like a late afternoon workout person.
Yeah.
I've never enjoyed like getting up before my day starts and exercise. However, this week with our challenge, one of the things I did was I got up and did my morning routine, but I added in an interval row on my rower
Okay.
before I went to work. So I work, 10 to 12-hour days when when I am at work.
Mhm.
So I thought, okay, and I could tell the difference in my
Okay.
presence. Now, I don't know if anybody else could tell, but I knew.
But it doesn't
And
matter as long
I
as
thought,
because you're doing it for you, you
right. And
know?
I thought maybe there's something to this
Yeah.
exercising before you start your day.
Yeah.
But, I always went to the like evening CrossFit classes for years. And so I'm just conditioned that you just work out in the evenings. So one thing I'm going to try, and I say try, I should just say one thing I'm going to do, at least
Okay.
one or two of my workouts a week, start them early in the day.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
because I did that this week with your challenge, and I thought this makes a difference.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm not the greatest of morning people.
I
So
Again, talk to my family. I'm not either.
I love sleep. So,
Yes. I love sleep and I love coffee, and I like to be kinda silent for the first
mhm.
probably 45 minutes to an hour, and that's not really great when you've got, my teenagers up getting ready to head out to school, and my husband's getting ready to go to work, and everybody's asking questions, and I'm just like,
Stop
"Ah,
it.
yeah, so maybe I need to go out to the garage early and do the same thing." Yeah, it's always been hard for me too to kinda get going in the morning and do that, but I've also heard that changing up the time of the day that you're working out does have benefits as well, and it keeps your body guessing what it is that you're getting ready to do,
Oh,
but
nice.
it keeps things fresh, and then, like, the experience that you had about really showing you that your alertness and your presence was different when you made that effort and you got up and you raised your heart rate, even for just a small interval of time, to
Mhm.
really get you to kind of bring yourself uh, up to this level, like from maybe
Mhm.
from the basement level to the first floor, if you will.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 3 things that I did, let me just tell you, first thing I did, one exercise, my goal was to do 3 different kinds of exercise because
Mhm.
I am a creature of habit nonstop, and I would go CrossFit and do Olympic lifting in my garage every day if my joints and my body would say, "You're good with it."
Yeah, girl, same.
However,
Girl, same.
not happening at my age. We're talking about backing the weight off of the barbell. That's been a huge thing, which is important. Still feel strong, but yeah, gotta get out of the egoic head.
It does. It's
So
so hard when you know what you used to do,
I
and
know.
then and then you're like, wow. But then, like you said, get the ego out, take
Yeah.
care of yourself. Yeah.
It's why do we do that? Why do we do that?
I don't know. I don't know. It's like I equate it to, the retired football player. It's always, well, back in the day, I used to do this or I used to do that. And I'm like, great, what are we doing now? So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
I
what
know
is
I'm
our
not
now?
yeah, I know I'm not deadlifting 285 anymore. I'm not doing that. But
Right,
I'm proud that I, could at one time, but yeah,
right.
not anymore.
But you can still do the movement. That's the
Yeah.
thing. You're still
Mhm.
moving. So
Yeah.
one of my workouts was an actual CrossFit workout, which is like that's my jam. Another workout that I chose to do was wall Pilates. You
Oh,
ever heard of that?
I've heard of Pilates, but wall?
Wall Pilates.
Okay,
Okay.
no, I
So
don't.
I did this for the first time when I was out of town this summer with my daughter cross country. We were there for a few weeks and I was like, what am I going to do physically other than just like walking or running or going and dropping in at a class? Like
Mhm.
something different. And I Google it up because some friends had been talking about it. I found a great YouTube site and it's like a 15-minute wall Pilates thing where you are actually doing core centered movements, but your feet are on a wall. And
Oh.
I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how let me just back up. I had a girlfriend that invited me to a Pure Barre class probably about 15-ish years ago. And
Mhm.
she's like, "It's gonna be fun. Let's go. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. You're a fitness head. You're gonna love it." Within 3 minutes of that class, I was hating life. It was not for me. It was just not for me. And so in an effort to try something new, I was like, "All right, I'm gonna do this wall Pilates thing and hope that it's not like Pure Barre." It's very much like Pure Barre, only in a different, um, hemisphere, if you will, because 'cause you're
Right.
lying down. But when I was done with it, it was super challenging because it's not something I'm used to doing. When I was done with it, however, stand up and I'm like, I feel like my core feels more stable. I feel like
Mhm.
my back was more supported. That's a weird thing. I just felt
Oh, no,
a
so
little
you
bit
got
more
some
together.
yeah, some posterior chain strengthening.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So besides my CrossFit, I did the Pilates, the wall Pilates, and
Totally
maybe
Googling that. I'm gonna have to try wall Pilates. Are you
absolutely.
inverted? You're not inverted, you're laying
Yeah.
down.
You are
Okay.
lying down. Mhm.
Ah,
Yep, you're lying down.
interesting.
And it's probably not gonna be something I'm gonna do all the time, but I will tell you that I think the really biggest benefit that I pulled from that was that, I just felt physically more stable, if that makes any
Mhm.
sense.
Mhm. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I
And
love
if
it.
you do CrossFit, a lot of times it's like you have that black lung, that breathing, you're coughing and you can't catch your breath at the end of the workout and you're rolling around
Yes.
on the floor. And anybody who's not a CrossFitter is gonna listen to this and go, "Who would choose to do that? Like, why would you do that? Why would
Yeah,
you do
I've
that?"
had people tell me all the time, I can't do CrossFit, I can't do that. And I'm like, anybody can do it because you
Yeah,
scale it down to your level.
yeah,
Just because people talk about what if you do CrossFit, you understand what we call Fran lung.
yes.
Um, that's you don't start there,
Right,
So yes, but I
right,
do understand that feeling of, where are my lungs and why do my legs feel like noodles?
right, right. And we're a really in a weird universe that we're living in, I enjoy part of that.
I
I
do
don't know.
too. I do too.
So
I'll tell you.
tell me what did you do this week? What were some of the things that you did workout-wise?
Well, I keep a set of dumbbells in my bedroom.
Mhm.
So I do three the goal is 3 resistance training sessions per week minimum.
Perfect.
That's fixing to probably increase a little bit, just with the high rocks training and all that coming up. Everything will probably feel like resistance training,
Yeah.
and trying to up my cardio capacity. But I keep dumbbells in my room because I like to, my upper body that my coach prescribes is very much, I can do it with dumbbells and
Mhm.
all of that. And I like to kind of close my door and just, if I don't want to go outside. So I love to
Right.
do that. So that's one of them. And that's not necessarily new, but it's funny that if they're, I just keep them sitting there. It's part of the decor, if you will. I just keep them sitting there so that I just get up and see them. So I'm just an equal opportunity wherever you are. Just take advantage of what you have.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I just try to set things up to where they're just staring at me. I'm like,
Yeah. And I
okay,
think,
I see you
well,
down there staring at me. Oh, yeah.
I see you.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's really valuable too, because I think a lot of people, if we go back to that one day or day one and
Mhm.
not really knowing where to start, taking the first step to start to do any kind of exercise, I think if you make it conducive to your lifestyle, where it's like, okay, I'm not going to be hard on myself. Today, I'm going to go for a walk,
Mhm.
and that's going to be good enough. And I'm going to
Absolutely.
go like around the block.
Hmm.
I'm going to walk to the end of the street and back. I mean, it doesn't have to be something so genuinely challenging to be
No,
beneficial.
not at all. And I don't
Mhm.
want, I know I talked about getting a sled and I have this gym set up in my garage, but in my carport. But the truth of the matter is you don't need any of that to get
Yeah,
started. Because when I have gone through this transition in my life, I mean, there've been a lot of times I couldn't utilize any of it. It's been body weight
yeah,
things. I do have a weighted vest, but you don't have to invest in a weighted vest. You can just put stuff in a backpack and go for a walk if you want to. You
right.
don't have to have all of these accoutrements, if you will, to get in a good workout. And that's what I try to tell people. They're like, I don't know that
Mhm.
I could do what you do because I don't have all that stuff. And I'm like, you just need your body. There's
Right,
so many things you can do with your body that that's resistance training when you're not holding anything, you know.
right, exactly.
You can just hold positions
Yes.
and you're doing a tremendous amount of good for your body. So the hardest rep is just that walking in to the gym or picking up, I don't know, or sitting in a squat. That's the first thing you do is the hardest rep. And then after that,
Always.
just yeah. So I don't want people to listen to this and think, I don't have all that stuff, so I can't do anything.
Yeah.
That's just that's not true. You
It's totally not true. Yeah,
right. Your
totally not
body
true.
your body is an incredible tool to get you stronger. Your body weight is. So
Mhm. There's so many things you can do. So many things you could do.
mhm.
What else did you do besides your
I did
resistance
I did the
dumbbells?
rowing intervals that morning,
Yeah, oh, right,
which
right, yes.
yeah, I did the rowing intervals and my resistance training. And what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, I love to do weighted walks. That's just like a thing for me.
Like
Uh,
rough, like putting
yeah,
weight in a backpack?
yeah, it's a 511. Well, I have a 511 tactical like weighted vest, and
Oh, yes.
I keep 20 pounds in it. So I add 20 pounds to my body weight and just take
Yeah,
off. And
yeah,
it does, I'm just a huge proponent of like time under tension. And
yeah.
it doesn't have to be a weighted vest. I mean, you can sit in positions, like I said, and but I love to add weight
Mhm.
to a walk or, weight to body weight exercises like squats or anything like that. So
Right,
yeah, that's a staple, and I do that too. So
right.
mine wasn't necessarily trying new things; it was being more consistent with the things that my coach is working with me on, to
Aw,
get back in the groove. Because
yeah.
with the transition that I experienced in my life came a lot of challenges, and so just 1% better every day, 1% better
Oh, I
every day.
love that.
So, hmm
Yeah, 1% better is really all that we really need to be doing.
hmm.
That's really we don't need to be striving to be 100% better every day. It doesn't work like that.
No, and then you get burned out and you can't
Mhm.
sustain it. So that's the thing that I encourage people, don't take on too much too fast. It's
Yes.
okay to start slow because if you can't, you know, I'm going to work out 2 hours a day. Well, if you can't sustain that, that's not going to serve you at all.
Right.
Do what you know you can do. If it's, I'm going to walk for 15 minutes after I eat,
Mhm.
to just to get my body moving and
Mhm.
get my digestion flowing. If I can just do a 10-minute walk after breakfast, lunch, and dinner, well, you've walked for 30 minutes. If you can
Yeah.
sustain that, then do it. But
Right.
don't set unrealistic expectations for yourself,
Yeah.
because then that's what I used to do. I
Yeah.
would make this laundry list of things, like 15. Okay, I'm gonna do this every day, 15 things. And then
Yeah.
if I didn't do one, it was a fail.
Like your whole day is shot.
Yes, and
Mhm.
that's what I don't want people to get discouraged by.
Mm.
Just start small and just increase when you can. And it's my coach calls it floor to ceiling, a floor day versus a ceiling day. So
Okay.
the floor, your floor is your absolute non-negotiables for the day. And she got this from some people that she knows. They have I don't know if it's a podcast or or Instagram, but it's called Not Dead Yet.
Oh my
And
god, I
so
love it.
right, so they have your floor to ceiling. So your floor are your absolute non-negotiables for the day.
Yeah.
These are things that I do no matter what. And
Yeah.
then your ceiling is, man, I have rocked this day. I have This is my 10 plus day. I did it all and it was great. But some days are ceiling days and some days all you can get in is the floor. And so I have floor things that are non-negotiables and that she and I've set together. So every day that's just non-negotiable. And then everything above that is just gravy.
Right.
So
I
I love
love
that.
that
I
whole
love that
intensity.
analogy, that floor to
Yeah.
ceiling. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes so much sense, and I think it also gives us some, ability to kinda let ourselves off the hook, if you
Mm-hmm.
will.
Mm-hmm.
Because like non-negotiables for all of us are going to be different depending on what our lifestyle is, depending on what our job is, our family, our home life is,
Mm-hmm.
our physical, our physicality and what we are able to bear at that point in time in our life and that season that we're in, whether you're have an injury, whether you are training for something intense, it's all going to change. Your floor to ceiling is always constantly evolving and your
Yeah.
seasons are always changing in that way.
Yeah.
I will say I did one other thing very consciously because my past is laden with a wonderfully, brilliantly horrible eating disorder.
Mm,
And
mm,
with that treatment came,
mm-hmm.
hey, we need to pause what we're doing and we need to reevaluate where we are in our lives. And this was probably, I'm going to say, I'm 51. This is going to be 30 years ago.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah, which is crazy to think about.
Mm, mm-hmm.
But those things that I learned during that treatment time are still, they still hold true. And
Sure.
one of the things that was really hard for me to do was to be able to back off in my intensity across the board. No matter it's my relationship with food, my relationship with exercise, my relationship with people, my relationship with myself. It's that intensity that I was bringing all the time. And I was just putting myself in that powder keg nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my eating disorder was like my best friend. And I had to kick that one out of the passenger seat and figure out, hey, who am I inviting on this journey now? And
Right.
who am I? What road am I driving down? And part of that process for me was learning to be gentler with myself. And I've kept that peace in my life. And when things get stressful, and like right now in our household, we're under a pretty high amount of stress in the season that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm in that high stress mode and that high anxiety, that kind of worrisome state,
Mm-hmm.
I tend to get wrapped back up into that. And my thoughts go back into that intense, like hit the button, push, go, go, go. But in actuality, I am a better person across the board and I'm better for myself. I show up for myself differently when I can be more gentle with myself
Mm-hmm.
just for a piece of time each day. So there were a couple of days this last week during this challenge where I was like, I just really feel like I just have to go and sweat and I have to move and I have to run and I have to do this. But I got one of these like God drops, like boop,
Mm-hmm.
right there in your lap. And it was just a very subtle, you really need to be gentle right now. And I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm going to go with it. and I took my dogs on a walk. And when I say I take my dogs on a walk, like my dogs walk me,
Right.
right? So when they want to stop, we stop.
Right.
Like, I don't time how far we're going. I don't time how long I've been walking. I'm not trying to get it done in a certain pace, or
Mhm.
I don't have to keep walking. I'm not dragging them like stop smelling. I'm just, when they stop, I stop. And that sounds really kind of very instrumentally, very simplistic, but I think it's a really huge metaphor for me
Mhm.
personally, that when they stop, I'm going to stop. I'm going to take that cue and I'm going to go, okay, take a breath. And then when they start carrying on, I'm like, okay, we're going to carry on. And then it's okay to be gentle with ourselves in our exercise and in our movement. And that moving in that way is just as beneficial as me going out to that garage and deadlifting my body weight and doing 500 burpees and running
Right.
600 miles and all of the things that accumulate to increase that intensity when I really just need to slow down and
Mhm.
open my ears and my mind to, for me, what my spiritual connection is and what I'm being given and what I'm being told by my connection to that spiritual side for me.
Oh
So
yeah, that's beautiful too. And you said allowing myself to slow down, because if you were coaching somebody, you would say, why don't you take a breath? Why don't you take a beat? It's
yeah,
okay to slow down. We tend to have a whole lot more grace for others than we do for ourselves. Um,
amen.
yeah, and so that's beautiful. I love that, slowing down, because we all need to do it,
Mhm. Yeah,
probably more than we do. And
exactly.
yeah, and I didn't know we had that in common. I have a history with disordered eating as well.
Mhm.
And it just adds another layer to
Right.
the stress. So I
Yeah.
totally get it. Yeah, for sure.
And when we talk to people about that, because I've had clients that have gone through eating disorders as well, and
Mhm.
that's been a part of the work that I've done with people across the
Mhm.
years, which has been really helpful for me because it just
Yeah.
keeps it's my accountability as well. But I love what you said, that we have more grace for other people. But I think when we can, gosh, it just goes right back to choice. Everything that we do is choice.
Mhm.
So not to display or to downgrade any other um, addictions, if you will, because I also have dear friends that have suffered from drug and alcohol addiction as well.
Mhm.
But
Right.
when you are in a disordered behavior and relationship with food in either capacity, under eating, overeating, uh,
Right.
all of the gray area in between those two pillars, you have to eat to survive. Like,
Right.
you have to have a relationship with calories on a daily basis. And
Mhm.
so for initial recovery, it's a really, really interesting place to have to walk through to get to a point where you're like, I am okay with today. I am okay with this meal. I am okay with this experience, with all the things.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
to exercise it. So see what I'm doing there? You got to exercise.
Yeah. That's right. And then you have to just be okay with being honest with yourself and removing like the shame behind it, you know.
Mm,
There's not good food, there's not bad food, it's just food, and we fuel our body. And yeah, so it's a lot of work. I get it, and I have mad props for you, respect for that,
oh,
because it's a hard journey to go through. So
yeah.
yeah.
It was something that, when you think about that, like, I'm really thankful for that best friend, if you will, that I had for a number of years because
Hmm.
it taught me now I don't ever wanna feel that way again. Like, if I
Right.
look back at that snapshot of days where I was really struggling and I thought I was thriving,
Hmm.
you know? Like,
Right.
I thought I was thriving, but the way I feel now in my body when I am taking care of myself and following all of the tools and all of the things that I've been given through all of the different treatments that I had gone through those years ago. Like I said, it is universal. It is unending. It always applies. It
Right.
always applies. Yeah.
Right. And not just with
Amen for
food too.
therapy.
That's right.
Amen for therapy. All the
Love me some
therapists.
therapy.
Thank you.
I love it. Love it.
Yes. So let's get physical. I loved the week. That my challenge, like I said, was to try some new things and to not be so intense, but also to do something that I really enjoyed, which was a CrossFit, but
Yeah.
then to challenge myself with something that I normally wouldn't initially go to. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think I'll do that more often. And
Yes.
I'll try, oh, this is me saying it. I'll try new things more often.
Right?
I'm
I'll
saying
just
that. I'll
with
try
through
it.
right, through your clenched teeth.
Yeah,
Right.
I will try new things more often.
There you go, there you go.
Aw, wonderful. Well, Dixie, this is awesome. I think that, I'm super proud of you for the High Rocks, the goal that you've set for this 2025, spring 2025,
It
correct?
is. There's 2 races I'm looking at, and it's so funny when you decide the deciding factor is time. One is 24 weeks away, one is 26 weeks away. So I'm like,
Ooh.
do I want to do the 26 weeks? But the middle of March is there's one in Dallas, and the end of March there's one in DC. So Anna really wants to do DC because she's never been there, and
Mhm.
so that's probably where we'll land. I haven't registered yet, but we'll see which one we fall on. So I'm
Ooh.
super excited. I love chasing things, and that's
Yep.
what I've learned about myself. I have to have something I'm chasing. It
Yeah,
really keeps me on track. It always has. And some people just innately can just exercise every day because they love it. And I
yep,
love exercise, but sometimes that's just not enough for me. I have to be chasing something.
right,
And I have so much respect for people who don't need to chase something because
right.
sometimes, like you said, it's just let's take a beat and slow down. But
Yeah.
but I think I've been taking that beat for a little bit of time now, and I'm ready to challenge myself again. So I'm super excited.
Well, you know that we're gonna hold you accountable on this show. We're gonna absolutely.
Yes, yes, you are, and that's what I'm excited about. And I've also been challenged by a girl. My coach coaches a bunch of people, and we have a team call every week or
Okay.
community call every week. And there's one girl on there that does. She just finished like 30 days of a day in the life every single day, and I've been challenged, and so yes,
Okay, what is a day in the light? What are you talking
where
about?
you just come on every single day and just kind of give a recap of your day in the life. And
Okay.
so I'm going to do that for 30 days. So
Okay.
just holding myself accountable to my training and the good, the
Yeah.
bad, the ugly, all the things. So
That's vulnerability at its
I
finest.
know, right? And I almost just said, no, I'm not going to do that. That's too uncomfortable. But then
Yeah.
I thought, wow, why don't I do something? Why don't I just do it afraid? So there we go. I'm going to
Gosh.
do it afraid.
Do it afraid, guys. Yes. Yes.
And
Because
that
it'd be
can
really
apply to
easy.
anything. That can apply to moving your body, exercising, any, just do it's okay to do it afraid. Just do it.
Mm.
Do something, even if you're doing it scared. So,
Oh god, I like that's the best. I'm gonna end this right now because that's the best comment of the day.
oh,
Yeah, do
nice.
it
Yeah.
afraid, guys,
Do it
no
afraid.
matter what it
Afraid.
is. You
Mhm.
owe it to yourselves to take care of yourselves, and when it's a hard choice to make and you feel that fear coming up and you know that this is the direction that you're being given,
Mhm.
you gotta trust it, and you just gotta go for it.
You do every day.
Do it afraid.
Mhm.
Ah,
Yeah.
Dixie, thank you. Thank you.
Fun times. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Guys, thank you everybody for joining us today. This has been awesome. I always enjoy our conversation back and forth
Me
with
too.
one another, Dixie. It's great. So until next week and next week's challenge, I'm Dawn and
I'm Dixie.
we'll see you next time, guys.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.